Harry's rough day in court. Backlash isn't deterring the poor prince. Harry's experience in the British High Court last week was supposed to be a triumphant takedown of the London media that he claims ruined his life. But instead, during a history-making cross-examination that lasted 1.5 days, Prince Harry really was put through the ringer. His case against Mirror Group newspapers for alleged phone hacking started with a stinging rebuke after Harry did not attend the trial's first day in person. He claimed that his daughter Princess Lilibet's second birthday was the reason that he was so late. Justice Fancourt is hearing the case, and he announced that he was a little surprised by Harry's absence. And then the lawyers for Mirror Group accused Harry of wasting time. But that was only the beginning of what turned out to be a pretty rough day for Harry, who made history as the first royal since King Edward VII in 1891 to face questioning in His Majesty's court. Opposing counsel poked holes in Harry's case, even questioning how he could have been phone hacked for a story on his 12th birthday. That's an age when, of course, he didn't even have a cell phone. Andrew Green KC also insisted that some other stories that showed up in Mirror Group's publications that Harry said came from phone hacking had in fact come from a palace spokesperson or press association reporting. He asked, "Are we not, Prince Harry, in the realms of total speculation?" And in spite of his rough start to what many people are saying is the royal trial of the century, Harry is still determined to win. But some insiders are worried that he is being pulled in different directions by his quest for revenge in the UK and his family life with Meghan Markle back in Montecito, California. One source said Harry is torn between two worlds, and they suggest that Harry is feeling pressure from both sides going by his late arrival to his highly anticipated court case. And this is happening after Harry missed the majority of his son Prince Archie's 4th birthday celebrations back in May. That was when Harry made a quick trip back to London to attend his father's coronation ceremony by himself. Harry skipping out on the first day of the trial is, quote, a huge hangover from Archie's celebrations, according to the source, who claims that it caused some tension in his marriage to Meghan. Harry's paranoid that missing another birthday will cause him more problems than any British judge can make, according to this source, hinting that Meghan was not happy when Harry missed Archie's celebrations. And all this is happening after weeks of media speculation that there are some problems in Meghan and Harry's marriage. Harry knows the implications of a divorce are nothing short of horrifying for him. That's not something he's willing to risk, according to another source, who claims that the America-based royal may face losing both of his invisible children in a California court in a worst-case scenario type situation. But the fact is, Harry's an adult, and he needs to figure out his own divorce. These situations are settled most likely thousands of times every single day. There is no need to pay anybody off. Lawyers get together, assets are added up, and then they are divided. It's not that complicated. And if there are issues of stuff like blackmail, for example, all right then, Meghan, bring it on. Could anybody actually be more disappointed in the two of them than they are now? All of his life, Harry has had minders telling him what to do, telling him when to do it, and of course, cleaning up after his messes. His father and brother were the people behind the scenes fixing all of Harry's mistakes, always having to rescue him from his latest mistake. Harry just doesn't have any know-how to do a divorce, and let's remember that he is divorcing a relative of Satan. Meghan is going to try her best to get as much money as she can. She wants all of his inheritance money. Now, she's not going to get that, though, because the money is held in trust by royal family members, and Harry can't even have access to the money until he reaches a certain age. But you know Meghan is going to try to nail him for all he's worth. I do hope that if they get divorced, or rather when they get divorced, and it's looking more and more likely that it's coming soon, in the settlement, Meghan gets basically nothing, just a little pittance. I don't believe that the judge is going to add in the royal family money just because Meghan wants it. It simply doesn't work like that. Meghan is going to spend the rest of her life making money off the royal family in the UK however she can. We can't really stop that. But Meghan doesn't deserve a penny from the royal family, especially if the money is in any way off the backs of the overtaxed good people of the UK. Now that's just my opinion, but I think a lot of people agree with me. About Harry's court case, was it all just staged to give Meghan and Harry more evidence for their next money-spending episode in their life of privileged privacy deprivation? It may be one of Meghan's strategies for their divorce. These days, Meghan is not with him very much. I think that she has been behind all of this mess, and now she has officially sold him down the river. It wouldn't shock me one bit if Harry or Meghan or both of them are going to spin this whole episode. Now, eventually, Meghan is going to use some of the drama to her benefit when she finally cuts him off, but I don't think that she's finished with him yet. The royal family did not pay her to go away and not marry him, which she believed they would thanks to all her bad behavior before they even got married. So I don't think Charles is going to pay her what she wants in a divorce. Unfortunately for her, nothing has really turned out like she thought it would. And that is typically what happens with a narcissist's plans. They're not very good planners at the end of the day. Meghan, I think, is pretty much finished with Harry, though, after that ridiculous car chase. You remember, the one that never actually happened. Harry was panicking, and Meghan was sitting there grinning like the Cheshire Cat. She set up that whole incident just to make Harry look crazy and paranoid. She believes that if she can make him look crazy and paranoid, then he won't have a chance of getting custody of those two invisible kids. Now, if I were the king or William, I would insist that Harry has got to return to the UK and get the papers filed ASAP. If Meghan files first in California, she may be able to take the royal family to the cleaners. I hope not, but she is quite a shark, so I wouldn't put it past her. Furthermore, kids learn and they model themselves based on their parents' behavior and the people who feature heavily in their lives. Now, in the case of Harry, his mother, the late Diana, had a much greater influence on him while he was a little boy. The late Queen and Prince Philip were third cousins, and that means being a grandchild of one's grandparents' first cousin. Realistically, this is not an especially close relationship, and genetically it's not important. So exactly what mess has the king made when it comes to Harry and Meghan? Well, as far as I can see, they are the ones who have created this entire mess all by themselves. They are grown-ups. They're living in America. The king doesn't have any power over them at this point. Harry and Meghan are not listed as working royals because they are not working royals anymore. He can't take the titles away either. Only Parliament can do that. Now, the king actually did not give titles to Harry and Meghan's invisible kids. They are automatically entitled to those titles when the queen passed away, and the king took the throne because they are the grandchildren of the reigning monarch. The king is actually not the richest man in the world, and in fact, there are a few people in the UK alone who are a lot more wealthy than he is. And much of the wealth of the king is basically held by him in trust as long as he's the monarch, and then he'll pass that money on to the next monarch. He can't just sell or otherwise dispose of much of his property. And as far as stepping down goes, that is not an option for the king. He's going to hold that position until he passes away. The king is also not above the law, and he cannot really manipulate the laws to his advantage. He's not immune to the law, actually. Now, I have no idea what types of scandals and investigations people are talking about, but he is required to provide accounts for finances, and he does that. He also pays a lot of money in taxes. Recently, he paid out a big chunk of money from increased profits of wind farm projects. Nobody claims the king owns the taxpaying public, or that he does whatever he wants to. The king obviously considers his job to serve the people, and he reiterated that in the coronation service. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.